Hey guys, All in Crypto here and welcome back ladies and gentlemen for another YouTube video. In this video we're going to be giving you a Cardano update guys, and I think there is a make or break moment taking place for Cardano, or certainly setting up on the charts right now, that we are going to dive into guys. We're going to do our best to try and determine based on probability and try and take really the best guess that we possibly can in the direction that Cardano is going to take in terms of price. Based on the information that we give you in this video, I'm sure you guys will be able to come up with your own opinion on that. So without further ado guys, let's jump straight into this video. Cardano is currently sat at $1.33 and he's down around about 1.3% on the daily and up a whopping 18.1% on the weekly. Currently has a market cap of $42.6 billion. That pesky Dogecoin has actually surpassed us. I can't help but bring that up just because it's such a confirmation to me of just how undervalued Cardano is as a project. Now, one thing that I want to do, guys, is I want to point out some stuff on the 4-hourly chart. This is where it's all going on right now, guys. In our last video, we spoke about the EMA, the 20 EMA on the 4-hourly, and how this was essentially acting. And we've been spot on so far, guys. We essentially said, based on prior data, that every time we break through this EMA to the upside, we tend to stay above it, and it tends to act as a bit of an elevator and kind of, act as a staircase for us to climb up. When you pierce below it, certainly with momentum, you will tend to stay down there and keep your head down there, unless you kind of shoot up with some real buying power. You'll tend to kind of, it'll become resistance. So I'll go from support to resistance. We said we were in a period of support. If you look at the EMA right now, guys, it's kind of making its mind up with what it wants to do. That is one factor of what we are looking at. However, right now it is acting as support. So that is a good sign. And in my opinion, would kind of indicate that we are going to bounce off it. You need to see this candle, not just a wick, close below it, for us to get any kind of a confirmation that this EMA was going to indeed roll over and that you would be selling through it for that support and resistance flip. You have another thing taking place right now. You have a couple of things taking place. I'll put all the cards on the table, guys, and I'll let you decide what hand you want to play. So that is one thing. We're looking at this EMA and we're thinking, it's making its mind up right now. The second thing I want to highlight to you, and there is a third, is you have a head and shoulders forming right now that would technically dictate a move to the downside. That, in my opinion, is somewhat cancelled out by taking a look at Bitcoin. We know Bitcoin is essentially the mover of the market. And the direction that Bitcoin wants to take, genuinely the entire market will take. I think one reason for Cardano's sort of sell-off right now and is in a bit of a red day when everyone else is kind of enjoying themselves is we have a bit of a hangover from the Africa special, and we'll touch on that towards the end of the video. I think people were, it was a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of situation. We did say that, and that was likely to be the case before it even came out. And that is essentially what happened, guys. And I think some people were somewhat disappointed with the fact that we were dealing with an educational system of the government, or an educational sector of the Ethiopian government, not the kind of the banks, etc., etc. But we'll get into why it's a lot more significant than I think people give it credit for in a second, guys. So you have that head and shoulders. On Bitcoin, however, you do have an inverted head and shoulders that has sort of been validated so far. And you can see how it's been validated. You could capitulate before then continuation. I think that's quite likely to happen. I think this market is going to start to move in the direction we all want it to now. I think we've done quite a bit of consolidating. I think we've done a bit of selling off, a bit of letting that pressure out and refueling, ready to make the next leg round the track. So head and shoulders, we have the EMA not really knowing what it's doing, and then we have this support from this ascending triangle. You can see that essentially this is acting as support as well. So if you do indeed break through this, guys, and I would watch out for this, you essentially probably are going to have some sort of a significant sell-off. It's not going to, I don't think you'll perhaps even make new lows or lower lows, sorry, but I do think you are going to sell off if you break through all these resistances, guys. That is certainly what I'm watching out for. But what I think is probably more of a likely scenario is this is going to continue to act support, forcing us up to the top of this triangle before we break out. I think that's likely, and I'm really basing that on the fact that the overall market is going to move. So based on all that information that I've given you, you need to come up with your own decision on what you think is going to happen. Remember, these are really only in a short-term time frame. Even if Cardano was to sell off even severely, ultimately, in my opinion, it's a matter of time before we are back in that all-time high zone, making new all-time highs and in price discovery. I'll take us to a daily quickly. Another reason why I am very, very bullish and I am anticipating a significant move for Cardano coming As you can see, the period that we are currently in does very much resemble a period that we have previously been in on a number of occasions in terms of structure and how it played out. And ultimately, I think after this period of consolidation is finished, you are indeed going to keep making new all-time highs. I mean, ultimately, we said Cardano could reach anywhere from $5 to $10. I know that's a very varied kind of price range, but we still do believe that. You know, we think it could meet somewhere in the middle, around about $7. It could overperform and go to 10, and to be safe, you know, make sure you're cashing out along the way, guys. If you certainly want to take profits and hope to reinvest it during the bear market or whatever your strategy is, make sure you're taking profits along the way, guys. So there's a lot going on. You know, we have all that stuff on the 4-hourly that kind of is, you know, split with which way it's going to go. You know, like I say, watch that you don't sell off. There are two essentially scenarios that could play out. We are getting dangerously close, in my opinion, to this. If you do indeed pierce these levels, I do anticipate that there is a short, perhaps, opportunity in there. But ultimately, guys, I would certainly like to think that you're going to continue to the upside. There's a number of things that can happen. I mean, you can sell off and then come straight back into it. There's a lot of things that can happen, but based on you know, what we're seeing right now, you know, it's very much split. And ultimately, if I was to choose one, I'd say the entire market is going to continue moving upwards. Thus, you know, Cardano going with it. And this sell-off really is just, like I say, a hangover from the Cardano Africa special. Now, what I want to do before I wrap the video up is talk about the Cardano Africa special and the fact that I was noticing, certainly the sentiment when I was asking some of the community, was a bit of disappointment. I think it was very hyped, and I think in a lot of respects, some people feel that it didn't quite live up to the hype. However, I think people are largely overlooking what this actually means. This could essentially mean Ethiopia have a better educational system and a better system of determining, you know, how students progress in life in terms of, you know, their grades, etc., than the entire world. Certainly the Western world and Africa being one of the poorest countries in the world. You know, it would be a real breakthrough for them. Essentially, it's an app called Prism that is built on top of Cardano, that is going to give each student an educational identity. So what do I mean by that? So it will log that student's achievements or accolades, and it will basically come up with sort of an average, so that, let's say there's not 1 point of failure, like you mess up on one exam. What it will actually do is dictate whether, you know, what your grades are or what your kind of progress capability is, based on a whole variety of things. And it does that, like I say, on Prism, which is an application built on top of the Cardano network. So it's absolutely huge. Cardano are working directly with them. This is an article talking about how Cardano isn't the most, Ethiopia isn't the most sort of internet friendly. It's quite a rural country where only 15% of the population have access to internet. This is saying that, you know, you'd think it was an unlikely place for Cardano to sort of decide to implement the system. However, there's pros and cons to that. You know, there's not a legacy system in place. Also, if they can do it in Ethiopia, guys, they can do it anywhere. And in fact, in some of the Western places, if you didn't have the legacy system, they could implement it in more of a significant and sort of easier manner. So this is a real test for Cardano, and I think this is going to be a gateway for more countries to onboard this, because in my opinion, it's going to be an absolute success. And like I say, not only will the rest of Africa, in my opinion, follow Ethiopia in this, or certainly the ones that can follow it, that aren't sort of torn at the moment. You know, a lot of the world is going to. I think this is really significant. And remember, guys, this is just one thing that they are doing. They're doing many. You haven't even got smart contract applications running on Cardano yet. That is all still coming. You're going to have a whole DeFi space come out of that. You're going to have all, you know, DEXs, oracles. You're going to have everything come out of that. So much going on with this project. This is a significant step, though, because this is one of the only places where Cardano is actually running a whole or an application built on Cardano. So the Cardano network at the foundations is running a whole government sector. A lot bigger, and they put a lot of work into this, and in my opinion, this is only just the start. They had mentioned a number of other countries that were kind of looking to, you know, go this way. This is absolutely great, guys, but I think people definitely were, in my opinion, somewhat disappointed. So yeah, so that's why we have the sell-off, guys. I think ultimately the entire market is going to continue moving upwards, or certainly I'd like to hope so. We are looking like we're getting dangerously close, guys, on this video to that support. I would really, really like to, and we will see, guys. We are getting very dangerously close. I don't want to sell off below this. If we sell off below, I would imagine that we're going further down, guys. So watch out for that. I would like to think that we're going to bounce off it. We are getting dangerously close to it right now, guys. Potential short opportunity here if that decides to sell off. Not that I reckon anybody should trade the crypto space, but I'm not a financial advisor, so I can't tell you what to do or not to do with your money. You do have that head and shoulders that is perhaps looking like it's going to be validated. So that's all I have for you on this video, guys. I'm going to love and leave you on that note with lots of things going on. Bitcoin reverse head and shoulders, markets moving up. Cardano's not really playing ball. We'll see what the outcome is. Remember, we go quite low volume on the weekends, so you know, it's more volatile action is sort of prohibited, and usually Sunday is a bit of a sell-off. So that's all I have for you in this video, guys. If you've enjoyed this content, a like is always appreciated. Comment, let me know your thoughts. I want to know your feedback on these videos. Did you find it helpful? Hopefully I've provided the right information for you to make your own decision on what the market is now doing. And that is all I have for you in this video, guys. I'm going to love and leave you on that note, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next YouTube video. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.